Hello, I am well aware that I am late with updates and the whole update every Friday schedule has gone to pot, but things have been happening, and again this is going to be another quick one.
This is probably all looking a bit weird right now. That's because I ain't got my normal camera with me, so I'm using a little action camera. Hey, so I guess we should need to go through a few things. Come for a ride.
So we're driving, and this might be annoying, but you'll just have to deal with it. I'm done with work, and I'm running around doing errands. Invariably with stuff like part-time game development, or anything you do that you don't get paid for, there are sacrifices that need to be made when real life comes a-calling. Take for instance this week, Easter weekend, and I've been laying a new kitchen floor for home, which unfortunately does take precedent over level design, twiddling with engines, or doing more creative stuff that's, to be quite frank, a whole load of fun. Not that laying kitchen floor isn't fun. It's fun in its own way, but it's not game development fun. And then with a 4-day working week, and then my boss taking a few days off, leaving me at the helm of an IT ship which is not falling apart, but is, how should we say, crewed by a bunch of clueless morons. And add to that the fact that I've left my camera elsewhere, means that regular video update has been a bit of a SOL situation. It's been about, what, 5-6 weeks since we started. Not a whole lot has happened other than a lot of concepting and a lot of note taking and a lot of talking, which tends to happen anyway with projects. But we're approaching some real work. And because we're almost ready to start like what we might call proper game development, which is putting hands on keyboards and mucking around with engine and locking stuff out, and generally actually putting something together based on what we've done. So I've been looking at the overall level design of Lifecycle in it, and something does make sense, and it's that extra little laboratory we've got for the player to monkey around with it. So it's all well and good if you look at the layout from a plan view, but if you start looking at it from how the player will see it, it doesn't make sense at all. It's hidden from view, there's no obvious cues that it's actually there, and it's actually a pretty important part of the game. So effectively we're relegating a really important part of the game to secret room status, which isn't good. But we can adjust it, change it, tweak it even now, and even if at a later stage we discovered it, everything is up for tweaking. So what we're going to do is drop the second laboratory down a bit and make the main room bigger. And we're going to have 2 viewing ports with an access door in the middle. So it's pretty obvious the player can get into the middle. And that's the really only tweak we need to make. It's not a big tweak, but it's an important tweak in it. It effectively changes how the player will perceive this area to be. And it makes it more accessible, which is what we want. We want the player to think, hey, there's something over here that I can't get to, but there's something similar over there that I can get to. Maybe I can go tool around in it. So that's that done. It's not a big job to change that. We've already changed it. Job's a little fish. So the next big thing is to organise how on earth the player sees these rooms. Some rooms are going to be ridiculously big, some rooms are going to be ridiculously small, such as the hallway. How are we going to display these things to the player in an interesting and dynamic fashion? this is where viewports come into effect. It's effectively how we're going to draw the scene and how we're going to present it to the player. Now, since we're not in 3D, we can't just spin the world around willy-nilly without actually creating a huge amount of work for ourselves. What we can do is represent the world in 180 degrees at a time. So you're presented with a room, and the player's got an option to maybe spin that room 180 degrees to see the other side of the room. So this is similar to what Turnanog or Marsport did. They're not point-and-click adventure games, but it's a pretty similar thing. The other option is basically to unfold the room out into a single plane, so that it goes beyond a single screen and thus makes it scrollable. Which seems like the more likely option. This is what the next phase will be, and this is what I'll be working on next week, so I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm going to do is sketch out how I think each room could be, and then we're going to send them to James, get his comments, re-sketch them, rescan them, and then put them into Visionaire to get a sense of how it might flow together. Once we're both happy with what we've got, I guess I'll hand over to James and he'll start building them for real. Or at least he'll start doing all the sketches for them, organising what objects we want in each room, and we'll start building the game world piece by piece. And that's really it. So that's the big update for this week. Again, nothing much but real life intrudes or real work life. It'd be so nice to just sit in an office somewhere and just do game development all day, every day. But I guess that's everyone's dream. And ideally that's what we're working towards, but we shall see. For the time being, I'm lashed to a desk. Lashed to spaz wrangling. So thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching. I know it's not terribly interesting, or there's not a huge amount to show, but this is the life cycle of Lifecycle. And this is what it's been like and what it'll be like. Obviously, as we develop the game further, more and more fancy stuff, fancy, will be displayed here. I do have some artwork from James, which is like a layout of a desk or a concept of a desk, so we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully things will settle down, I can get back on track. We shall see. Why don't you look that way and enjoy the bit of the drive, and I'll see you again next week. See ya! end.